Miranda, I forgot that I might see so many beautiful things. I forgot that I might need to find out what life could bring. Adane, beautiful things. Camp lies. My parents got divorced the summer before ninth grade. My father was with someone else right away. In fact, though my mother never said so, I think that's the reason they got divorced. After the divorce, I hardly ever saw my father, and my mother acted stranger than ever. It's not like she it was not like she was unstable or anything, just distant, remote. My mother is kind of a person who was happy faced for the rest of the world, but not a lot left over for me. She never talked to me much, not about her feelings or her life. I don't know much about what she was like when she was my age. Don't know much about the things she liked or didn't like. The few times she mentioned her own parents, who I never met, it was mostly about how she wanted to get away from them as she could once she'd grown up. She never told me why. I asked her a few times, but she pretended she hadn't heard me. I didn't want to go to camp that summer, but I had wanted to stay with her to help her through the divorce. But instead, I go away. I figured she wanted alone time, so I gave it to her. Camp was awful. I hated it. I thought it would be better being a junior counselor, but it wasn't. No one I knew from the previous year had come back, so I didn't know anyone, not a single person. I'm not even sure why, but I started playing this little make-believe game with the girls in the camp. They'd ask me stuff about myself, and I'd make things up. My parents are in Europe, I told them. I live in a huge townhouse in the nicest street in North River Heights. I had a dog named Daisy. Then one day I blurted out that I had a little brother who was deformed. I had absolutely no idea why I said this. It just seemed to be an interesting thing to say. And of course, the reaction I got from the little girls in the bungalow was dramatic. Really? So sorry. That must be tough, etc., etc. I regretted saying it the moment it escaped from my lips, of course. I felt like such a fake. If Via ever found out, I thought she'd think I was such a weirdo, and I felt like a weirdo. But I have to admit, there was a part of me that felt entitled to this lie. I've known Augie since I was 6 years old. I've watched him grow up. I've played with him. I've watched all 6 Star Wars episodes for his sake, so I could talk to him about the aliens and the bounty hunters and all that. I'm the one who gave him the astronaut helmet he wouldn't take off for 2 years. I mean, I've kind of earned the right to think of him as my brother. And the strangest thing that these lies I told, these fictions, did wonders for my popularity. The other junior counselors heard it from campers, and they were all over it. Never in my life had I ever been considered one of the popular girls in anything, but that summer, in summer camp, for whatever reason, I was a girl everybody wanted to hang out with. Even the girls in Bungalow 32 were totally into me. These were the girls at the top of the food chain. They said that they liked my hair, though they changed it. They said they liked the way I did my makeup, though they changed that too. They showed me how to turn my t-shirt into a halter top. We smoked, we snuck out late at night and took paths through the woods to the boys' camp. We hung out with the boys. When I got home from camp, I called Ella right away to make plans with her. I don't know why I didn't call Via. I guess I just didn't feel like talking about stuff with her. She would have asked me about my parents, about camp. Ella never really asked me about those things. She was an easier friend to have in that way. She wasn't serious like Via. She was always fun. She thought it was cool when I dyed my hair pink. She wanted to hear all about those trips through the woods late at night. School. I hardly saw Via this school year. And when I did, it was awkward. It felt like she was judging me. I know she didn't like my new look. I knew she didn't like my new group of friends. I didn't much like hers. We never actually argued. We just drifted away. Ella and I bad-mouthed her to each other. She's such a prude. She's so this, she's so that. We knew we were being mean, but it was easier to ice her out if we pretended she had done something to us. The truth is, she hadn't changed at all. We had. We had become these other people, and she was still the same person she'd always been. That annoyed me so much, I don't know why. Once in a while, I'd look to see where she was sitting in the lunchroom or check the electives list to see what she had signed up for. But except for a few nods in the hallway and an occasional hello, we never really spoke to each other. I noticed Justin about halfway through the school year. I hadn't noticed him at all before, and other than that, he was just a skinny, cutish dude with thick glasses and longish hair who carried a violin everywhere. Then one day I saw him in front of the school with his arm around Via. So Via has a boyfriend, I said to Ella, kind of mocking. I didn't know why it surprised me that she'd have a boyfriend. Out of the 3 of us, she was totally the prettiest. Blue eyes and long, wavy, dark hair. But she'd just never acted like she was interested in boys. She acted like she was too smart for that kind of stuff. I had a boyfriend too, a guy named Zach. When I told him I was choosing the theater elective, he shook his head and said, "Careful you don't turn into a drama geek." Not the most sympathetic dude in the world, but very cute. Very high up on the totem pole, a varsity jock. I wasn't planning on taking theater at first. Then I saw Via's name on the sign-up sheet, and I wrote my name down on the list. I don't even know why. We managed to avoid each other throughout most of the semester, like we didn't even know each other. Then one day I got to theater class a little earlier, and Davenport asked me to run additional copies of the play he was planning on having us do for the spring production, The Elephant Man. I'd heard about it, but didn't really know what it was about. So I started skimming through the pages while I was waiting for the Xerox machine. It was about a man who lived more than 100 years ago named John Merrick, who was terribly deformed. "We can't do this play, Mr. D," I told him when I got back to the class, and I told him why. "My little brother has a birth defect, and he's deformed face. This play would hit too hard to home." He seemed annoyed and a little unsympathetic, but I kind of said that my parents would have real issues with the school doing this play. So anyways, we ended up switching to our town. I think I went for the role of Emily Gibbs because I knew Via was going to go for it. It never occurred to me that I'd beat her for the role. What I missed the most. One thing I missed the most about Via's friendship is her family. I loved her mom and dad. They were always so welcoming and nice to me. I knew they loved their kids more than anything. I always felt safe around them, safer than anywhere else in the world. How pathetic that I felt safer in someone else's house than my own, right? And of course I loved Augie. I was never afraid of him, even when I was little. I had friends that couldn't believe I'd ever go over to Via's house. "His face creeps me out," they'd say. "You're so silly." I'd tell them, and Augie's face isn't that bad once you get used to it. I called Via's house once just to say hello to Augie. Maybe part of me was hoping Via would answer. I don't know. "Hey, Major Tom," I said using his nickname. "Miranda." He sounded so happy to hear my voice, it actually kind of took me by surprise. "I'm going to regular school now," he told me excitedly. "Really? Wow," I said, totally shocked. I guess I never thought he'd go to regular school. His parents have always been so protective of him. I guess I thought he'd always be the little kid in the astronaut helmet I gave him. Talking to him, I could tell he had no idea that Via and I weren't close anymore. "It's different in high school," I explained to him. "You end up hanging out with loads of different people." "I have some new friends in my new school," he told me. "A kid named Jack and a girl named Summer." "That's awesome, Augie." I said, "Well, I was just calling to tell you I miss you and hope you're having a good year. Feel free to call me whenever you want, okay, Augie? You know I always love you." "I love you too, Miranda. Say hi to Via for me. Tell her I miss her." "I will. Bye." Bye. Extraordinary, but no one's there to see. Neither my mother nor my father could come see the play on opening night. My mother because she had things at work, and my dad because his new wife was going to have a baby any second, and he had to be on call. Zach couldn't come to opening night either. He had a volleyball game against Collegiate he couldn't miss. In fact, he had wanted me to miss opening night so I could come cheer him on. My friends all went to the game, of course, because their boyfriends were playing. Even Ella didn't come. Given a choice, she chose the crowd. So on opening night, no one that was remotely close to me was even there. And the thing is, I realized in my third or fourth rehearsal that I was good at this acting thing. I felt the part. I understood the words I spoke. I could read the lines as if they were coming from my brain and my heart. And on opening night, I can honestly say I knew I was going to be more than good. I was going to be great. I was going to be extraordinary. But there would be no one there to see. Well, we were all backstage, nervously running through our lines in our heads. I peeked through the curtain at the people taking their seats in the auditorium. That's when I saw Augie walking down the stairs with Isabella and Nate. They took 3 seats in the front row near the middle. Augie was wearing a bow tie, looking around excitedly. He had grown up a bit since I last seen him, almost a year ago. His hair was shorter. He was wearing some kind of hearing aid now. His face hadn't changed one bit. Davenport was running through some last-minute changes with set decorators. I saw Justin pacing off stage, mumbling his lines nervously. "Mr. Davenport," I said, surprising myself as I spoke. "I'm sorry, but I can't go on tonight." Davenport turned around slowly. "What?" he said. "I'm sorry. Are you kidding?" I muttered, looking down. "I don't feel well. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going to throw up." This was a lie. "It's just last-minute jitters." "No, I can't do it. I'm telling you." Davenport looked furious. "Miranda, this is outrageous. I'm sorry." Davenport took a deep breath, like he was trying to restrain himself. To be truthful, I thought he would look like he was going to explode. His forehead turned bright pink. "Miranda, this is absolutely unacceptable. Now go take a few deep breaths." "And I'm not going on," I said loudly, and the tears came to my face fairly easily. "Fine," he screamed, not looking at me. Then he turned around to a kid named David, who was the set director. Go find Olivia and the lighting booth. Tell her she's filling in for Miranda tonight. What? Said David, who wasn't too swift. Go, he shouted a Davenport in his face. Now, the other kids had caught on to what was happening and gathered around. What's going on? Last minute change of plans, said Davenport. Miranda doesn't feel well. I feel sick, I said, trying to sound sick. So why are you still here? Davenport said to me angrily. Stop talking, take off your costume and give it to Olivia. Okay, come on everybody, let's go, 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 go. I ran backstage to the dressing room as quickly as I could and started peeling off my costumes. 2 seconds later, there was a knock at the door and Via half opened it. What's going on? She said. Hurry up and put it on, I answered, handing her the dress. You're sick? Yeah, hurry up. Via looked stunned, took off her t-shirt and jeans and pulled on the long dress over her head. I pulled it down for her, then zipped up the back. Luckily, Emily Webb didn't go on until 10 minutes into the play, so the girl handling hair and makeup had time to put Via's hair into a twist and do a quick makeup job. I've never seen Via look with a lot of makeup on. She looked like a model. I'm not even sure I'll remember my lines, Via said, looking at herself in the mirror. Your lines? Your lines. You'll do great, I said. She looked in the mirror. Why are you doing this, Miranda? Olivia, it was Davenport shouting from the door. You're on in 2 minutes. It's now or never. Via followed him out the door, so I never had a chance to answer her question. I don't know what I would have said anyways. I wasn't sure what the answer was. The performance. I just watched the rest of the performance from the wings just off stage next to Davenport. Justin was amazing, and Via was heartbreaking in the last scene. It was awesome. There was one line she flubbed a bit, but Justin covered for her, and no one in the audience even noticed. I heard Davenport muttering under his breath, good, good, good. He was more nervous than all the students put together. The actors, the set directors, the lighting team, and the guy handling the curtains. Davenport was a wreck, frankly. The only time I felt any regret, if I could even call it that, was at the end of the play when everyone went to the curtain call. Via and Justin were the last actors walking in on stage, and the audience rose to their feet when they took their bows. That, I admit, was a little bittersweet for me. But just for a few minutes later, when I saw Nate and Isabel and Augie making their way backstage, and they all seemed so happy. Everyone was congratulating actors, patting them on the back. It was crazy backstage theater. Mayhem, where sweaty actors stand euphoric, while other people worship them for a few seconds. In that crush of people, I noticed Augie looking kind of lost. I cut through the crowd as fast as I could and came up behind him. Hey, I said, Major Tom. After the show. I can't say why I was so happy to see August's face again after so long, or how it felt when he hugged me. I can't believe how big you've gotten, I said to him. I thought you were going to be in the play, he said. I wasn't up to it. But I said, but Via did a great job, don't you think? He nodded. 2 seconds later, Isabel found us. Miranda, she said happily, giving me a kiss on the cheek. And then to August, don't ever disappear like that again. You're the one who disappeared, Augie answered back. How are you feeling, Isabel said to me. Via told us you got sick. Much better, I answered. Is your mom here? Said Isabel. No, she had work stuff, so it's actually no big deal for me, I said truthfully. We have 2 more shows anyway, so I don't think I'll be as good as Emily as Via was tonight. Nate came over and we had basically the same exact conversation. Then Isabel said, look, we're going to have a late night dinner to celebrate the show. Are you feeling up to joining us? We'd love to have you. Oh no, I started. Please, said Augie. I should go home, I said. We insist, said Nate. By now, Via and Justin come over with Justin's mom, and Via put an arm around me. You're definitely coming, she said, smiling her old smile at me. They started leading me out of the crowd, and I have to admit, for the first time in a very, very long time, I felt absolutely happy. Part 8, August. You're going to reach the sky, fly, beautiful child. The 5th grade nature retreat. Every year in the spring, the 5th graders of Beecher Prep go away for 3 days and 2 nights to a place called Barwood Nature Reserve in Pennsylvania. It has a 4-hour bus drive. The kids sleep in cabins with bunk beds. There are campfire s'mores and long walks through the woods. The teachers have been prepping us about this all year long, so all the kids in the grade are excited about it, except me. It's not even that I'm not excited, because I kind of am. I've just never slept away from home before, and I'm kind of nervous. Most kids have had sleepovers by the time they're my age. A lot of kids have gone to sleepaway camps or stayed with their grandparents or whatever. Not me. Not unless you include the hospital stays, but even then, Mom and Dad always stayed with me overnight. But I never slept over at Tata's or Papa's or Aunt Kate's or Uncle Poe's house. When I was really little, that was mainly because there were too many medical issues, like my trash tube needing to be cleared every hour, or reinserting my feeding tube if it got detached. But when I got bigger, I never felt like sleeping anywhere else. There was this one time when I half slept over at Christopher's house. We were about 8, and we were still best friends. Our families had gone to visit his house, and me and Christopher were having such a great time playing Lego Star Wars. I didn't want to leave when it was time to go home. We were like, please, 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 can we have a sleepover? So our parents said yes. Mom and Dad and Via drove home, and me and Christopher stayed up till midnight playing until Lisa, his mom, said, okay, it's time to go to bed. That's when I kind of panicked a bit. Lisa tried to help me go to sleep, but I started crying and I just wanted to go home. So at 1 a.m., Lisa called Mom and Dad drove all the way back to Bridgeport to pick me up. We didn't get home until 3 a.m. So my only sleepover up until now was pretty much a disaster, which is why I'm a little nervous about the nature retreat. On the other hand, I'm really excited. No and 4. I asked Mom to buy me a new rolling duffel because my old one had Star Wars stuff on it, and there was no way I was going to take that to the 5th grade nature retreat. As much as I love Star Wars, I don't want to be what I'm known for. Everyone's known for something in middle school. Like Reed is known for being really into marine life and oceans and things like that. And Amos is known for being a really good baseball player. And Charlotte is known for having been on TV commercial when she was 6. And Exima is known for being really smart. My point is that in middle school, you kind of get known for what you're into, and you have to be careful about stuff like that. Like Max G and Max W will never live down their Dungeons and Dragons obsession. So I was actually trying to ease out of the Star Wars thing a bit. I mean, it'll always be special to me, like it is with the doctor who puts on the hearing aids. It's just not my thing I want to be known for in middle school. I'm not sure what I want to be known for, but that's not it. That's not exactly true. I don't really want to be known. I do really what I really want to be known for, but nothing I can do about that. Star Wars duffel bag I could do something about. Packing. Mom helped me pack the night before the big trip. We put all the clothes I was taking on my bed, and she folded everything neatly and then put it inside the bag while I watched. It was plain rolling duffel. By the way, no logos, no artwork. What if I can't sleep at night? I asked. Take a book with you. Then if you can't sleep, you can pull out your flashlight and read a bit until you get sleepy, said Mom. I nodded. What if I have nightmares? Your teachers will be there, sweetie, she said. And if Jack and your friends, I can bring Babbo. I said. This was my favorite stuffed animal when I was little, a small black bear with a soft black nose. You don't really sleep with him anymore, do you? Said Mom. No, but I keep him in my closet in case I wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep, I said. I can hide him in my bag. No one would know. Then let's do that, Mom said, guiding Babbo from inside the closet. I wish they allowed cell phones, I said. I know, me too, she said. Though, I know you're going to have a great time, Augie. You sure you want me to pack Babbo? Yeah, but way down where no one can see him, I said. She stuck Babbo deep inside the bag and then stuffed my last t-shirts on top of him. So many clothes just for 2 days. 3 days and 2 nights, I corrected her. Yep, she said, nodding. 3 days and 2 nights. She zipped up the duffel bag and packed it up. Not too heavy. Try it. I picked up the bag. Fine, I shrugged. She sat on the bed. Hey, what happened to your Empire Strikes Back poster? Oh, I took it down ages ago, I answered. She shook her head. Huh? I didn't notice that before. I'm trying to, change my image a bit, I explained. Okay, she smiled, nodding like she understood. Anyways, honey, you have to promise me you won't forget to put on bug spray, okay? On the legs, especially when you're hiking through the woods. It's right here in the front compartment. Uh-huh. And put on your sunscreen, she said. You don't want to get a sunburn. And I repeat, do not forget to take your hearing aids off if you go swimming. Would I get electrocuted? No, but you'd be in real hot water with Daddy because those things cost a fortune, she laughed. I put the rain poncho in the front compartment too. Same thing goes for rain, Augie, okay? Make sure you cover your hearing aids with a hood. Aye, aye, sir, I said, saluting. She smiled and pulled me over. I can't believe how much you've grown up this year, Augie, she said softly, putting a hand on the sides of my face. Do I look taller? Definitely. I'm not even talking about your height, she said. Suppose I hate it there. You're going to have a great time, Augie. I nodded, and she got up and gave me a quick kiss on the forehead. Okay, so I say we go to bed now. It's only 9 o'clock, Mom. Your bus leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow. You don't want to be late. Come on, chop, chop. Your teeth are brushed. Are your teeth brushed? I nodded and climbed into bed. She started to lie down next to me. You don't need to put me to bed tonight, Mom, I said. I'll read on my own until I get sleepy. Really? She nodded, impressed. She squeezed my hand and gave me a kiss. Okay then, good night, have sweet dreams. You too. She turned on the little reading light beside my bed. I'll write you letters, I said as she was leaving, even though I'd probably be home before you guys get them. Then we can read them together, she said, and threw me a kiss. When she left my room, I took my copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe off the night table and started reading until I fell asleep. Though the witch knew the deep magic there is magic deeper still, which she didn't know. Her knowledge goes back only to the dawn of time. But if she could have looked a little further back into the stillness and the darkness before time dawned, she would have read there is a different incantation. Daybreak. The next day I woke up really early. It was still dark inside my room, even darker outside, though I knew it would be morning soon. I turned over on my side, but I didn't feel at all sleepy. That's when I saw Daisy sitting near my bed. I mean, I knew it wasn't Daisy, but for a second I saw a shadow that just looked like her. I didn't think it was a dream then, but now looking back, I knew I must have been. It didn't make me sad to see her at all. It just filled me with a nice feeling inside. She was gone after a second, and I couldn't see her again in the darkness. The room slowly started lightening. I reached for my hearing aids, had been, and put them on. And now the world was really awake. I could hear the garbage trucks clunking down the streets and the birds in the backyard. And down the hallway, I heard Mom's alarm beeping. Daisy's ghost made me feel super strong inside, knowing wherever I am, she'd be with me. I got up out of bed and went to my desk and wrote a note to Mom. Then I went to the living room, where my packed bag was by the door. I opened it up and fished inside until I found what I was looking for. I took Babbo back to my room, and I laid him on my bed and taped the little note to my mom on his chest. And then I covered him up with blankets so Mom would find him later. The note read, "Dear Mom, I won't need Babbo, but if you miss me, you can cuddle with him. XO Augie."